Now we have a tech discussion. Peter aka Chijoke is a governance tech innovator with over 20 years of experience in the banking sector. He has since transitioned into developing technology-driven solutions focused on strengthening governance and public trust, particularly in electoral systems. Hello, Peter aka, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Okay, Peter, you are now a tech innovator, but you started off as a banker. You were in the banking sector. Talk to us about your initial start. How did you pivot from banking into technology?
Well, technology is something I've always had passion for, but after school, I naturally started my career in banking. But banking did a lot of things to my mindset. I discovered it was a very controlled environment where, systems work, where accountability is not left for chance, where transparency, honesty, and efficiency play very key roles. So I started having this mindset shift, from the norm, from the traditional way that we do things. And, I started asking myself, all of these impacts that you're getting from the system, why is it not reflecting in the larger society? Why do we come out to the society and things are done like right opposites of the way it is done in the banking sector? So I started asking questions, and that's what naturally led me to start thinking, what makes the systems work in the bank? Why can't they be applied, in the larger society, in governance, to make people accountable, to make our systems transparent? So that's how I, started building systems and teams that, focus on transparency, efficiency, systems that work, systems that are accountable. And that's what led to what we have done so far.
Now, you're talking about transparency and accountability. Those are two words that people don't get to identify with Nigerians so much. We have a lot of porous systems. The banking system has stepped up quite a lot. Where did that passion, first of all, start? Why did you decide that, that you want to be held, or you want to hold people accountable, or that people should be held accountable, that transparency is what you think you should devote your time and your efforts into?
Well, for a very long time, I've just been a passive Nigerian, almost just trying to make a living. But now my family is growing. I'm having kids. I'm having to think about their future. I'm having to think about how they will meet the society that we lived in. I started thinking sustainability, and it occurred to me, you can't just live your life and now let the rest of the people just struggle. So it occurred to me that the only way I can live a better Nigeria for people that are coming after us is if I can contribute in building systems that, will hold people accountable, systems that will be transparent, systems that our children can come up tomorrow and say, we're glad that our parents were part of this system that built this system for us. So that was the major driving force, living a better society than I met it.
I like that. I like that.
Because accountability is not something we associate with a lot of Nigerians. I felt that if we can make a headway in that direction and hold people accountable and let systems be transparent and efficient, then we can get there in a shorter time.
All right. Now, you put up that platform, iVoteAfrica, which you created. Why did you think elections? Why do you want to start there? Why not something else? Why is it why elections?
Well, it's not the only thing we've done,
okay.
But this is something in the front burner right now. So that's why it seems like we're talking about it more. I mean, elections are coming. We built other solutions. We are building other solutions.
Okay.
But talking about elections, when a system evolves, when a system is growing, it is the people at the leadership positions that give direction. It is the people that lead others that provide focus, direction, leadership, and all of the things we experience. So if we have the wrong people at the helm of affairs, if we have a system that people are always disgruntled with, if we have a system that produces, I don't want to say produces bad leaders, but a system that people do not trust the outcome, if we keep having that as a means of selecting our leaders, then even when the leaders try to do the right things, the people, because they don't believe the system, because they don't trust the system, will always seem to disagree. And that delays governance, that delays progress. So if we can get a system in place for election, apart from getting the best of us to lead us, it also creates trust in the system. So people can begin to set aside sentiments, unnecessary sentiments, be it tribal, be it religious, and all of those sentiments that people have. People can now actually start setting them aside and say, we trust this system that produced these people, so let's support them, let's work with them. You understand? So for me, I believe that the transformation has to start with everybody getting the best people to lead and trusting the system that produced the people.
Okay.
That's the way they can get maximum support from their followers.
All right. Is this an app? How does it work? How does technology make it more efficient as you say or as you want? How does it work?
Okay, it's not an app as per you can download. It is currently it is still web-based.
Okay.
It runs on the web browser. It's currently, the demo is actually currently hosted at www.iVoteAfrica. So it's currently web-based, and how it's supposed to impact elections and how it's supposed to help our elections, that a number of issues that we've identified studying the electoral process, or in fact virtually all the issues that we identified as part of the challenges we have in electoral processes have been addressed using this platform, iVoteAfrica. Starting from transparency, the system is so transparent that, unfortunately, we might not be able to demonstrate all of that. But those issues like accountability, transparency, violence, costs, logistics, all these are issues that we identified in developing this app, and we tailored them to solve these problems, reasonably, at least up to 99%, solution has been provided for electoral challenges.
All right. Now, the name says Africa. It's sometimes something that is accessible to the whole continent. Is it limited to the continent, or is it something that people can even use outside Africa? Because when it comes to tech, you have a background in banking. Our fintech is almost some of the best around the world. The kind of accessibility we have to fintech, transferring from one bank to another, is not something that even outside the country is not easily accessible to all of that. So when this was being developed, are you looking at the African continent? Is it a global? Is this something that you're looking at taking global? What are the boundaries? What are the limits of iVoteAfrica?
Okay, when we started iVoteAfrica, we actually started it as a iVoteNG, right? But in the course of our research, we found out that African democracies experience similar challenges.
Okay.
So it's an African thing, So we said, why focus only on Nigeria? If we can be Pan-African in our outlook, why can't we extend this? If it works in Nigeria, why can't we extend it to other African countries? Because our issues are homogeneous in nature. I mean, the African issues. We decided to give it a Pan-African outlook. So in the big picture is iVoteAfrica, but when you start breaking down the pie, you now have iVoteNG for Nigeria, iVoteKE for Kenya, iVoteZA for South Africa, and as many as countries that adopt the platform. So it's scalable like that.
Okay.
You can
scalable. I like that. Scalability. I like that. Yeah. As a tech innovator, let's talk a little bit about the challenges putting up, things like this for people who want to get into the tech, space. People who want to develop things just like how you did. You know, it's at times when you see that, you wonder that, oh, from here we can do so much that can touch people around. What sort of challenges have you encountered, or, you know, are you encountering that, you know, you've been able to surmount in building such a tech-driven solution?
Well, thank you. The challenges that we've encountered, they are multi-layered.
No.
First of all, you need the skill, adequate skill to be able to build something like this. It's not knowledge that you just pick by the roadside. You have to do a lot of research, you have to do a lot of personal development, you have to, so, but that's on the tech side. And then when you come to talk about it with the society, you also meet pockets of resistance based on some of these sentiments that I identified earlier. So some people will tell you Nigeria will never let this work, right? So these are the kind of pockets of resistance. You know, the people in authority will never let this work, and all of that. So, but we're resilient. We're not giving up. We are not stopping. We are building bridges. We are reaching out, and the feedback really is very encouraging. So when people want to go into something like this, because of the global nature that we know we're positioning it, first you have to be adequately skilled. It's not, I mean, something like an election, a national election is not something you just bring one kabu something and deploy, and then tomorrow is broke, right? So you have to get the adequate skills. Then you have to be resilient. You have to be willing to confront issues for the issues that they are really, devoid of sentiment. Because when we get into these discussions with people and they say this thing can't work, and instead of getting angry, instead of saying it's a Nigerian thing, we try to let everybody see why this thing will benefit everybody. Why we're not doing it just because we can, but why it will benefit the children unborn. You know, talking about sustainability, how do we leave this country? How do we leave the system that we met? You know, so that becomes the fuel that
drives
keeps
it,
us going.
keeps you going. Thank you so much, Peter Eke. This is us encouraging you as an innovator, and more grease to your elbows. Keep on doing what you're doing. We need transformation and we need changes like this, and it's great that it's homegrown. That's a homegrown solution. More grease to your elbows. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, that was Peter Ike, and of course, governance, and he's talking about when it comes to transparency and accountability, how tech can help us drive governance. That's all that we can take on our tech segment this morning. We'll take a time out now. Stay with us. There's more to come on the show.